A former casino floor manager just revealed something that could change the way you think about slot machines forever. For 17 years, Michael worked at 3 different major casino properties in Las Vegas, and what he's been documenting over the past 2 years is alarming. According to his detailed reports, casinos have been quietly removing specific slot machines in the middle of the night, machines that were costing them millions of dollars because they were simply too generous to players. And here's what makes this especially urgent. If you know which machines to look for, you can still find some of them, but they're disappearing fast. Casinos don't want you knowing which games are player favorable, and they definitely don't want you seeking them out before the removal is complete. What I'm about to share with you are 9 specific slot machines that casinos are secretly pulling from their floors. And yes, you can still find them if you know where to look. Machine number 1, Blazing Sevens. This is the original 3-reel classic that's been a casino staple for decades, and it's being systematically phased out across the country. According to internal reports obtained by gaming industry analysts, the quarter denomination version of Blazing Sevens typically operates with a return to player percentage between 95 and 96%. Now, that might not sound dramatically different from other machines, but when you compare it to what's replacing these games, the difference is staggering. Modern video slots that are taking the place of Blazing Sevens usually run at 86 to 88% return to player, sometimes even lower. That's a 7 to 10% difference, and over the course of regular play, that represents thousands of dollars. Here's what former slot technicians report about why casinos are targeting this machine specifically. The math is just too simple and too fair. There are no complicated bonus rounds, no psychological manipulation features, and no hidden bet multipliers that players don't understand. You put in a quarter, you pull the handle or press the button, and 3 reels spin. Either you win or you don't. Players who spend time on these machines can actually start to track patterns, they can understand their odds, and that's exactly what casinos don't want. Documentation from former casino operations managers includes specific directives to replace Blazing Sevens machines with modern video slots at a rate of approximately 1 machine per month per property. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's a retired postal worker who lives in Henderson, Nevada, and for 3 years, she visited the same locals casino twice a week to play the exact same Blazing Sevens machine. According to her detailed records, and yes, she kept records, she would typically buy in for $100 and cash out anywhere between $200 and $400. Over a 3-year period, she documented consistent moderate wins. Not life-changing money, but enough to cover her entertainment budget and occasionally treat her grandchildren to dinner. Then one Tuesday evening in March of last year, she arrived at the casino to find her machine gone. Just gone. In its place was a modern video slot with flashing lights and multiple bonus features. She tried playing the new machine a few times, and according to her account, she lost her $100 buy-in within 40 minutes. That never happened on the old Blazing Sevens. Now, where can you still find these machines? Based on reports from players across the country, your best chance is at older locals casinos, the kind that cater to neighborhood regulars rather than tourists. Some Indian gaming halls still have them, particularly smaller tribal properties that haven't done major floor renovations in the past 5 years. Off-strip properties in Las Vegas occasionally still have a few, though they're usually tucked away in corners rather than in prime floor positions. If you're looking for Blazing Sevens, look in the areas of the casino with lower foot traffic, because that's where machines go before they disappear entirely. And if you think that's surprising, machine number 2 is even more player-friendly, and casinos are removing it for exactly that reason. Machine number 2, Double Diamond. This is IGT's legendary simple multiplier machine, another 3-reel classic that's been generating consistent player satisfaction for years, which is precisely why it's disappearing. Former gaming executives report that Double Diamond, particularly in the quarter and dollar denominations, operates with a return to player percentage between 94.5 and 95%. The volatility is low, meaning you get frequent small wins that extend your playing time without the massive losses that modern machines are designed to create. Here's what makes Double Diamond especially problematic from the casino's perspective. It's too predictable. According to gaming analytics reports cited by industry insiders, Players on double diamond machines tend to play longer sessions with smaller losses compared to virtually any modern video slot. The game pays out frequently enough that players feel rewarded, they feel like they're getting value for their entertainment dollar, and they leave satisfied even if they've lost a modest amount. Casinos have run the numbers on this, and they've determined that the floor space occupied by double diamond machines could be generating significantly more revenue if different games were installed in those positions. The replacement strategy is documented and deliberate. When a double diamond machine is removed, it's almost always replaced with a penny video slot, usually something from the Buffalo family or a similar high volatility multi-line game. These replacement machines typically run at 86 to 88% return to player. But here's what makes it worse. Players often don't realize they're betting far more per spin than they think they are. On double diamond, if you're playing quarters, you're betting 25 cents or 75 cents per spin, depending on whether you're playing max bet. It's straightforward. On the replacement penny games, you might think you're betting pennies, but with 40 or 50 lines active and multiple credits per line, you're actually betting $2 or more per spin. The casino gets you coming and going, lower return to player percentage, and higher average bet per spin. There's a documented case from Circus in Las Vegas that illustrates this perfectly. According to gaming industry reports, the property removed an entire bank of 6 double diamond machines from their casino floor in late 2021. Those 6 machines were generating approximately $12,000 per month in revenue for the casino. They were replaced with a bank of Buffalo Gold machines, and within 3 months, that same floor space was generating over $41,000 per month. That's a 340% increase in monthly revenue for the exact same square footage of the casino floor. From the casino's perspective, keeping double diamond machines is leaving money on the table. But wait until you hear about machine number 3, because this one has casino managers so worried that several properties have removed entire banks of them in a single weekend. Machine number 3, full pay Deuces Wild. This isn't just another slot machine being removed. This is a video poker variant that casinos are aggressively downgrading, and the reason why should concern every single person who plays these games. According to internal reports from 3 separate casino groups, documented by gaming industry analysts who track these changes, the full pay version of Deuces Wild video poker operates at 100.76% return to player when played with perfect strategy. Let me repeat that, 100.76%. That's not a typo, and that's not a mistake. This is a game where mathematically, if you play perfect strategy over sufficient hands, you actually have a positive expectation. The house doesn't have the edge. You do. Now, I need to explain what full pay actually means, because this is where casinos are being incredibly deceptive. Video poker machines display a pay table right there on the screen, and that pay table determines the return to player percentage. Full pay Deuces Wild has specific numbers you need to look for. It pays 200 coins for a straight flush, 100 for 4 of a kind, and 9 for a full house when you're betting 5 coins. Those specific numbers create that 100.76% return. But here's what casinos have been doing. They keep the same game name, the same graphics, the same theme. Everything looks identical, but they quietly change those pay table numbers. The new version might pay 160 for the straight flush, 80 for 4 of a kind, and 8 for the full house. Same game name, completely different mathematics. The downgraded version drops to 98.9% return to player, or even lower depending on which numbers they change. A former gaming director at a regional casino chain, speaking on condition of anonymity to gaming industry reporters, revealed that their properties were specifically instructed to replace or downgrade any video poker machines where advantage players were making consistent money. And that's exactly what was happening with full pay Deuces Wild. Players who took the time to learn perfect strategy, who used strategy cards or had memorized the correct play for every possible hand, were actually generating positive returns over time. There's a documented case of a player named Robert, a software engineer from Reno, who kept meticulous records of his video poker play over an 18-month period. He played full-pay Deuces Wild exclusively at a downtown Las Vegas casino, always played perfect strategy, and his records show a cumulative positive return of $4,300 over that period. Not massive wins, not jackpots, just consistent mathematical advantage playing out over thousands of hands. Then one evening in October of 2022, he arrived to find the machines had been serviced overnight. Same cabinets, same Deuces Wild game. But when he looked at the pay table, the numbers had changed. The casino had downgraded every single full pay machine to a reduced pay table version, dropping the return to player to 98.6%. Here's how you identify whether you're looking at a true full pay Deuces Wild machine. Pull up the pay table screen and look for these specific numbers. Natural Royal Flush should pay 800 coins for max bet. 4 deuces should pay 200 coins. Wild Royal Flush should pay 25 coins. 5 of a kind should pay 15 coins. Straight Flush should pay 9 coins. 4 of a kind should pay 5 coins. Full House should pay 3 coins. Flush should pay 2 coins. Straight should pay 2 coins. 3 of a kind should pay 1 coin. Those exact numbers in that exact configuration give you the full pay version. Anything less, and you're playing a downgraded game. Current locations where you might still find legitimate full pay Deuces Wild are extremely rare, but some station casinos' bar top machines still have them, particularly at Red Rock and Green Valley Ranch, though reports suggest even these are being gradually downgraded. A few downtown Las Vegas properties still have them, and some tribal casinos in California that locked in their floor configurations several years ago. Now machine number 4 is particularly interesting because it's not just being removed, it's being replaced with a version that looks identical but plays completely differently, and most players have no idea they're not playing the same game anymore. Machine number 4, Wheel of Fortune Quarter, the original mechanical reel version. This is critical to understand there are 2 completely different versions of Wheel of Fortune machines on casino floors right now. There's the original version with actual mechanical reels that you can see spinning behind glass, and there's a newer video screen version that looks very similar. The original mechanical reel version, particularly in quarter denomination, operates with a return to player percentage between 94 and 96%, according to documentation from former IGT technicians. The video replacement version runs at 88 to 90% return to player. That's a 6 to 8% difference, and over regular play, that's enormous. Here's what makes this especially deceptive. Both versions have the same Wheel of Fortune branding, the same theme music, similar cabinet designs, and the same basic gameplay concept. A casual player walking up to either machine would think they're playing the same game. They're not. The original mechanical version has 3 physical reels with actual weighted stops that determine outcomes. Each symbol on each reel has a specific probability based on how many times it appears on the physical reel strip. The video version uses virtual reel technology, where what you see on the screen is just a representation of a much longer virtual reel that's calculated by a random number generator. The casino has far more control over outcomes on the video version. They can adjust settings remotely through server-based gaming systems, and the hold percentage is significantly higher. According to industry insiders who track these removals, major strip properties in Las Vegas have removed 60 to 70% of the original mechanical Wheel of Fortune machines since 2019. There's a case study that illustrates exactly what this means for players. A woman named Patricia, a regular visitor to Las Vegas from Phoenix, had been playing the same mechanical Wheel of Fortune machine at the Flamingo for years during her quarterly trips. She kept basic records of her play, typically buying in for $500 and playing for several hours. Her records show she usually cashed out between $300 and $600, sometimes winning, sometimes losing, but generally having extended play sessions. In early 2023, she arrived for her regular trip and found her usual machine had been replaced with what looked like a newer version of the same game. She sat down, bought in for her usual $500, and lost it all in 90 minutes. She tried again on her next visit with the same result, losing $1,200 across both sessions far faster than she ever had on the original mechanical version. Here's how you tell them apart. Look for actual physical reels that you can see through the glass. If you're looking at what appears to be reels, but they're on a video screen, it's the newer version with worse mathematics. The original mechanical cabinets also tend to be slightly larger and have a distinctive real window design where you can actually see the physical reel strips. Where might you still find the originals? Off-strip properties that haven't done complete floor renovations, some regional casinos in the Midwest, and tribal casinos with older floor agreements that were negotiated before the video versions became standard. But here's what a former slot technician revealed. When properties do floor walks to assess which machines to replace next, they specifically photograph and document any remaining mechanical Wheel of Fortune machines. They're being systematically targeted for removal. And speaking of machines being secretly swapped out, machine number 5 that is so player favorable that one casino chain issued an internal memo calling it a revenue liability. And what happened to the players who love this game should make you angry. Machine number 5, Scarab. This is IGT's ancient Egypt-themed game with the free spin feature that casino executives literally call too generous in internal documentation. And the story of how this machine disappeared from casino floors reveals everything you need to know about how this industry actually operates. According to internal documentation obtained by gaming industry reporters who track casino operations, several major casino groups specifically flagged Scarab as underperforming their revenue targets. And here's the phrase that appeared in multiple reports: revenue liability. Not a broken machine, not a malfunctioning game, but a machine that worked exactly as designed, and that was the problem. Let me explain the technical breakdown of why Scarab made casinos so uncomfortable. The base game operates at approximately 94% in return to player, which is already higher than most modern video slots. But what really made this machine different was the free spins feature. According to former slot technicians who serviced these machines and documented trigger frequencies, the free spins bonus activated approximately once every 80 to 120 spins. That's frequent. Most modern machines are programmed to trigger their main bonus features once every 150 to 300 spins. Scarab's bonus came around twice as often, and when it hit, it genuinely paid. The feature included expanding Scarab symbols during free games with significant multipliers, and players regularly saw returns of 50 times their bet, often 100 times or more. This created a situation where players could maintain their bankroll for extended periods, sometimes even build it up, without the rapid depletion that casinos depend on for revenue. Former casino operations managers, speaking to gaming industry analysts who publish detailed reports on floor performance, described receiving specific instructions to gradually relocate Scarab machines from high-traffic areas to lower-traffic sections of the casino floor before eventual removal. This is a documented strategy. When a machine is marked for removal, it doesn't just disappear immediately. First, it gets moved to a less visible location. Then it might get moved again. Eventually, it disappears entirely, often during overnight maintenance periods when few players are present to notice. The whole process is designed to avoid drawing attention to what's actually happening. But here's what makes Scarab's story particularly significant. There's a documented case of a player named Dennis, a retired accountant from Tucson, who did something most players never do. He tracked his results. Over an 8-month period, he played Scarab almost exclusively during his twice-monthly visits to a tribal casino in Arizona. He recorded every session: buy-in amount, cash-out amount, playing time, notable wins. His spreadsheet covered 40 separate sessions, and the data showed something remarkable. He won money in 27 of those 40 sessions. That's a 68% session win rate. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. This doesn't mean the game had a positive expectation overall. Individual variance in Dennis's particular playing style during that specific period created those results. But the fact that a regular player could maintain that kind of success rate over 8 months of documented play demonstrates just how different this machine's mathematics were from what casinos prefer. Here's what happened next. According to Dennis's account shared in online gambling forums, he arrived for his regular visit in June of last year, and the Scarab machines were gone. All 6 of them that had been in the high-limit room had been replaced with newer games. He asked the slot attendant what happened, and then the response was vague, something about routine floor updates and equipment rotation. When Dennis found a scarab machine in a different section of the casino the following month, he noticed something felt different. He played several sessions and tracked the results like he always did, but the free spins feature seemed to trigger less frequently. He suspected the casino had installed an updated version with different math, though he had no way to verify that without access to the machine's internal settings. The reconfiguration strategy is well documented by gaming analysts who track these changes across properties. Newer versions of Scarab that casinos have been installing maintain the same name, the same visual theme, the same basic gameplay structure, but the bonus trigger frequency has been reduced to approximately once every 180 to 250 spins. That's more than double the spin count between bonuses compared to the original version. The game still works, it still has the same features, but the underlying mathematics have been fundamentally altered to generate higher hold percentages for the casino. Where might you still find original Scarab machines with the more generous math model? Based on player reports compiled in gambling forums and verified through multiple sources, your best chances are at older Harrah's properties that haven't undergone recent renovations, particularly some locations in the South and Midwest. Some regional casinos that negotiated equipment purchases in bulk during 2017 and 2018 still have original versions. The key identification method is the manufacturing date, which you can sometimes see on a small label on the cabinet, typically near the bill validator or on the side panel. Look for manufacture dates before late 2019. Also pay attention to the bonus trigger frequency. If you're playing Scarab and the free spins feature activates multiple times within a couple hundred spins, you might have found an original. If you're going 300 spins or more between bonuses, you're almost certainly on an updated version. And this next machine, machine number 6, actually had casino employees reporting they felt relieved when it was removed because according to their accounts, they had watched too many players actually walk away as winners. And that created an uncomfortable dynamic that casinos simply couldn't tolerate. Machine number 6, Money Storm, the aristocrat progressive link game that was too volatile in the player's favor. This machine represents something even more disturbing than simple removal. It's an example of how manufacturers and casinos work together to alter games that players have already learned to trust. The original Money Storm configuration had a base game return to player of approximately 93.5%, which is actually slightly below average. But what made this machine genuinely player favorable was how the progressive feature functioned. According to internal casino reports cited by gaming industry analysts, the progressive meters on Money Storm filled quickly enough that the effective return to player, when you factored in progressive contributions, reached 96 to 97%. That's exceptional for a penny denomination game. Here's what former slot attendants have described in detailed accounts shared with gaming reporters. They would regularly see the same players hit significant progressive awards multiple times within single sessions. The meters reset at relatively generous values, typically $50 or $100 depending on denomination, and they would climb quickly during regular play. Most players could expect to hit a progressive worth $200 to $500 approximately once every 200 to 300 spins. That's frequent enough to create genuine excitement and frequent enough that players felt rewarded for their time and money. Then something changed. Aristocrat released what they called an updated math model for Money Storm. Same cabinet, same name, same visual appearance, same progressive feature, but the underlying mathematics had been fundamentally altered. The progressive trigger frequency was reduced by approximately 40%, according to analysis by gaming mathematicians who examined the before and after performance data. What used to hit every 200 to 300 spins now hit every 400 to 600 spins. The reset values for progressives were reduced. The rate at which the meters climbed was slowed. Every element that made the original version player favorable was quietly adjusted downward. There's a documented case that illustrates exactly what this meant for real players. A woman named Susan, a frequent visitor to a casino in Biloxi, Mississippi, played Money Storm regularly for nearly 2 years. She kept records like Dennis, and her documentation shows she hit the progressive award for $1,000 or more 3 separate times during a 6-month period in 2021. She understood she was lucky, but the game felt rewarding and she kept coming back. After the casino performed what they called routine maintenance updates on the machines in early 2022, Susan continued playing with similar frequency, similar bet amounts, similar time investment. Over the following 8 months, she hit 0 major progressives, not a single one. She hit smaller rewards occasionally, but nothing approaching her previous results. Same machine name, same cabinet, completely different experience. Here's what makes this particularly problematic from a consumer protection standpoint. Gaming regulations require that slot machines operate within licensed return-to-player ranges, typically between 85 and 98%. As long as the manufacturer keeps the mathematics within that broad range, they can alter math models during maintenance updates without any requirement to notify players. The cabinet says Money Storm. The game looks like Money Storm. But the machine you're playing this month might have fundamentally different mathematics than the machine you played last month, and you have absolutely no way of knowing unless you track thousands of spins worth of data or compare experiences with other players online. This represents a disturbing trend that goes beyond just removing machines. Casinos and manufacturers have discovered they don't need to physically remove games anymore. They can just update the software and achieve the same result. Players who loved Money Storm kept playing Money Storm. They just didn't realize they were playing a worse version. Where might you find original math model Money Storm machines? Extremely rare at this point. A few independent tribal casinos with older floor management contracts that specifically locked in equipment configurations might still have them, but they're vanishing quickly. Your best verification method is comparing progressive hit frequencies over multiple sessions and cross-referencing experiences with other players in online forums where people document these patterns. Before I tell you about machine number 7, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel, because what these next machines reveal about casino strategy will completely change how you look at slot floors. And you need to understand what's replacing these player-favorable games, and why the new generation of machines is designed specifically to counter every advantage you think you might have. Machine number 7, White Orchid, specifically the original 720 Ways to Win version that IGT released before they quietly updated the math model and hoped nobody would notice. This machine represents something particularly insidious about modern casino operations. The discovery that they don't need to remove your favorite game at all. They just need to gut the mathematics while keeping everything else identical. And according to gaming floor analysis documents reviewed by industry reporters, White Orchid became the test case for this strategy because it had what internal reports called the too many ways to win problem. Let me explain the technical specifications that made the original White Orchid so player favorable. The quarter denomination version operated at 94.1% return to player, which is already substantially higher than most modern video slots. But what really made this machine different was how the 720 Ways to Win format combined with the stacked wild symbol feature. According to former IGT technicians who serviced these machines and documented performance metrics, stacked wild symbols would appear on reels 2, 3, and 4 frequently enough to create multiple simultaneous winning combinations on a regular basis. Gaming floor analysis from several major properties documented that White Orchid had the highest average payout per spin ratio of any machine in its class. Players weren't just getting occasional big wins. They were getting frequent medium-sized wins that added up to extended play sessions without devastating bankroll depletion. Here's what made casino executives deeply uncomfortable about this, based on internal communications that gaming analysts have reviewed. Players genuinely enjoyed the experience. They would sit at White Orchid machines for hours. They would see screens filling with wild symbols, creating exciting moments. And those exciting moments actually paid well instead of being empty visual theatrics. There's a documented case of a player named James, an engineer from San Diego, who kept detailed spreadsheets of his casino visits over a 5-year period. He played White Orchid almost exclusively, typically buying in for $200 and playing quarter denomination. His records covering 60 separate casino sessions show an average session loss of only $40 per 2-hour session. Think about that. He was getting 2 hours of entertainment, experiencing regular wins and exciting bonus moments for an average cost of $40. From a player's perspective, that's exceptional value. From a casino's perspective, that's a problem. The replacement strategy was executed with precision. IGT worked directly with casino partners to phase out the original math model starting in 2020, according to reports from gaming industry analysts who track manufacturer updates. The critical detail is that they didn't release a new game or change the name or alter the visual appearance. They simply updated the math model in the existing White Orchid cabinets. Same game name, same 720 ways to win format, same theme, same graphics, same sound effects, same stack wild feature. Everything a player could see or hear remained identical, but the return to player percentage was dropped to 91.5 to 92.5%, and the frequency of stacked wild appearances was reduced by approximately 30%. James, the player with the detailed records, experienced this change firsthand. After the update that he didn't know had occurred, his average session loss jumped to $120 for the same 2-hour playing time. Same game, same strategy, triple the losses. Here's what makes this situation nearly impossible for players to detect. The visual experience hasn't changed enough to notice unless that you're tracking hundreds of spins. You'll still see stacked wilds appear. You'll still get those exciting screen-filling moments. They just happen to us less frequently. The difference between stacked wilds appearing every 70 spins versus every 95 spins isn't something you can observe casually. You need statistical analysis across thousands of spins to identify the pattern, and almost no recreational players track data at that level. Where might you find original White Orchid machines with the more generous math model? This is extremely difficult to answer because visual identification is impossible. The only potential locations would be casinos with older IGT floor agreements that specifically prohibited remote math model updates without property approval, and those agreements are rare. Some Canadian properties with different regulatory update requirements might still have originals. Your only realistic verification method would be tracking stacked wild frequency over extended play and comparing your results with other players' documented experiences from before 2020. And if you think changing the math on existing machines is deceptive, machine number 8 reveals something even more calculated and even harder for players to detect. Because this time they didn't just change how often features trigger, they changed how much those features pay. And they did it so gradually that even experienced players didn't notice until someone started comparing photographs of pay tables from different years and discovered what had been taken away. Machine number 8. Quick Hits Platinum, specifically the original triple red 7 pay table that has been systematically gutted through a series of quiet downgrades that most players never noticed. This represents perhaps the most cynical removal strategy of all. Instead of taking away the machine, or obviously changing the game, they simply reduced how much it pays while keeping everything else the same. And they did it in stages over several years so that no single change seemed dramatic enough to trigger player complaints. The original quarter denomination, Quick Hits Platinum, according to documentation from gaming mathematicians who analyzed pay tables across multiple years, operated at 94.8% return to player with a top jackpot combination of triple red 7s paying 10,000 credits. Here's what changed. Based on careful analysis by players who photographed pay tables and compared them over time, the pay tables were reduced in multiple stages. First, the triple red 7 combination was reduced from 10,000 credits to 7,500 credits. Then, in a subsequent update, it was reduced again to 5,000 credits. That's a 50% reduction in the top jackpot payout, but it happened gradually enough that individual players who hit that combination at different times might not have realized that the pay table had changed between their wins. A player who documented hitting triple red 7s in 2018 and winning $2,500 on a quarter machine photographed her win. Another player hit the same combination in 2021 on what appeared to be the same machine and won $1,250. Same cabinet, same game name, same winning combination, half the payout. The math impact extends far beyond just that top combination. Reducing the highest payout on a pay table requires rebalancing the entire return to player calculation which means multiple symbol combinations across the board, had their payouts reduced by 10 to 30%. Gaming mathematicians who have reverse engineered these changes estimate that the overall return to player dropped from 94.8% to approximately 91.2% through these adjustments. Players lost 3.6% in return to player, and most never knew it happened. Where can you find original pay table quick hits platinum machines? Almost nowhere at this point. Small tribal casinos that haven't accepted manufacturer optimization updates might have them. Properties with extremely old floor inventories that haven't been touched since 2017 or earlier. Your only protection is photographing pay tables on machines you play regularly and comparing them over time, cross-referencing with online player forums where people document these changes and share evidence of what's been taken away. Now we're getting to the final machine on this list, and this one actually had casino executives worried enough that they removed it from several properties within months of installation. Because what happened with this game threatened to expose the entire business model that modern slot floors depend on. Machine number 9, Ultimate Firelink. Lucky Larry's Lobster Mania, the original release version that lasted less than 2 years on most casino floors before executives made the decision that this game was simply too player-friendly for its own good. This is the machine that represents everything casinos have learned to avoid, everything they've systematically engineered out of modern slot design. And the story of what happened with Lucky Larry's reveals the fundamental tension between creating games that players genuinely enjoy and creating games that generate the revenue numbers that casino executives demand from every square foot of floor space. The original Lucky Larry's launched in late 2019 with specifications that gaming analysts describe as almost unprecedented for a modern penny denomination game. Base return to player of 95.2%, combined with a hold and spin feature that triggered approximately once every 110 to 140 spins. But here's what made this machine genuinely exceptional, according to former slot directors who watched its performance data with growing concern. It balanced 3 elements that almost never appear together in modern games: high return to player percentage, frequent bonus triggers, and genuinely significant payouts when those bonuses hit. According to gaming industry analysis of floor performance data, Ultimate Firelink, Lucky Larry's consistently showed hold percentages that were 40% lower than other premium games occupying the same denomination and floor position. A bank of 6 Lucky Larry's machines would generate approximately $12,000 in weekly revenue, while equivalent floor space with different games would generate $20,000 or more. What made the player advantage even more pronounced was how the hold and spin feature actually functioned. According to technical documentation reviewed by gaming mathematicians, the feature regularly awarded returns of 100 to 300 times the triggering bet, and the grand progressive jackpot hit far more frequently than comparable games in the same category. There's a detailed case study that illustrates exactly what this meant in practice. A retired teacher named Maria, who lives in Laughlin, Nevada, played Lucky Larry's twice weekly for 8 months starting in early 2020. She kept meticulous records because she was on a fixed retirement income and needed to track her entertainment spending carefully. Every session, she would buy in for exactly $200, play the same bet level, and record her results. Over 32 documented sessions, her records show she cashed out between $280 and $320 23 times. That's consistent positive returns over an 8-month period, and she wasn't the only one experiencing this pattern. 3 other regular players at the same casino, according to accounts shared in online gambling communities, reported similar experiences during the same time frame. Extended periods of modest but consistent wins, frequent enough bonus triggers that playing sessions felt rewarding, and jackpot hits that actually felt achievable rather than impossibly rare. Then, according to Maria's detailed account, she arrived one Tuesday morning in October of 2021 to find the machines gone. All 6 Lucky Larry's cabinets that had been positioned near the casino's main entrance had been removed overnight and replaced with Dragon Link machines. She asked the slot attendant what happened, and the response was the standard vague explanation about routine equipment rotation and floor optimization. Maria tried playing the replacement Dragon Link machines several times over the following months. maintaining her same $200 buy-in and similar playing time. Her records from this period show a dramatically different pattern. Average session losses of $80 to $100, with only 4 winning sessions out of 20 attempts. Same player, same budget, same time investment, completely different results because the underlying mathematics of the replacement game operated at approximately 88% return to player, with less frequent bonus triggers and lower average bonus payouts. The removal strategy was coordinated across multiple casino groups according to reports from gaming industry analysts who track equipment changes. Original Lucky Larry's machines were pulled from major strip properties within 12 to 18 months of installation, replaced with newer Ultimate Firelink versions that maintained the same brand name but featured different themes and critically updated math models that reduced return to player to 92 to 93%, while decreasing bonus trigger frequency significantly. The average player walking up to an Ultimate Firelink machine today has no way of knowing whether they're looking at an original generous configuration or an updated tighter version, because the branding looks identical and the basic gameplay structure remains the same. Where might you still find Lucky Larry's Lobster Mania machines? Based on compiled player reports from gambling forums verified across multiple sources, your best chances are at regional Midwest tribal properties that negotiated bulk floor purchases during late 2019 or early 2020, some independent casino groups in Louisiana that haven't undergone recent floor renovations, and possibly select coast casino properties, though reports indicate even these locations are systematically replacing them. The only reliable verification method is checking the cabinet manufacturing date, which sometimes appears on a small certification label near the bill validator, and looking specifically for dates between late 2019 and early 2020. Also pay attention to bonus trigger frequency during actual play. If you're experiencing hold and spin features multiple times within 200 spins, you might have found an original. But if you're going 300 spins or more between features, you're almost certainly playing an updated version with them tighter mathematics. So now you know the 9 specific machines that casinos are secretly removing or fundamentally altering. But here's what you need to understand about what this really means for anyone who steps onto a casino floor. What we've just walked through isn't a collection of random equipment decisions or coincidental floor updates. These 9 machines represent a documented pattern, a systematic elimination of player-favorable mathematics that's been occurring across the casino industry for the past 5 years. The removal strategies fall into 3 distinct categories, and understanding these categories reveals how casinos and manufacturers work together to continuously optimize revenue extraction. First, there's complete physical removal, which we saw with Blazing Sevens, Double Diamond, and the original Scarab machines. These games simply disappear from casino floors, replaced by higher hold percentage alternatives that occupy the same space but generate dramatically more revenue. Second, there are silent math model updates. The strategy used with Money Storm and White Orchid, where the cabinet and brand remain identical, but the underlying mathematics are fundamentally altered through software updates that players never see and aren't informed about. Third, there are pay table reductions, the approach used with Quick Hits Platinum, where specific winning combination payouts are gradually decreased over time in stages small enough that individual players don't notice the pattern. Now, I want to be absolutely clear about something. None of this is conspiracy theory, and none of it is illegal. These are documented business decisions based on profit optimization, and everything I've described operates completely within the legal framework of gaming regulations. Casinos are businesses, they exist to generate revenue, and they have every legal right to choose which equipment occupies their floors and how that equipment is configured. Gaming commissions in every jurisdiction approve these machines and their math models. And as long as the return to player percentage stays within the approved range, typically between 85 and 98%, casinos and manufacturers have enormous flexibility to adjust, update, and optimize however they see fit. The regulatory framework isn't designed to protect players from unfavorable mathematics. It's designed to ensure that the mathematics disclosed to regulators matches the mathematics operating in the actual machines. Those are very different objectives. But here's the critical information gap that gives casinos an overwhelming advantage. They have complete data about every machine, every math model, every update, and every performance metric. They know exactly which games perform best from their revenue perspective. They track player behavior down to individual betting patterns, and they use sophisticated analytics to continuously optimize their floors. Players, on the other hand, have almost no visibility into any of this. You can't look at a machine and determine its return to player percentage. You can't know whether the game you're playing today has the same mathematics as the version you played 6 months ago. You can't access the data that would tell you which machines offer better odds or which ones have been recently updated with tighter configurations. This information asymmetry is enormous, and it's by design. 20 years ago, slot floors were relatively static. A machine's math model would stay consistent for years. Pay tables remained unchanged, and players could develop genuine familiarity with how specific games performed. That era is over. According to former casino executives who've spoken with gaming industry analysts, the frequency of math model updates has increased by over 300% since 2015. Server-based gaming technology now allows properties to modify machine configurations remotely, sometimes overnight, without any physical intervention and without any notification to players. The acceleration of this optimization process means you genuinely cannot rely on past experience with a machine to predict how it will perform today. What does this mean for you practically? Several things. First, document everything you can. Photograph pay tables on machines you play regularly so you can compare them over time and identify when changes occur. Note machine serial numbers, manufacturing dates when visible, and cabinet details. Track your playing sessions if you're a regular player, not because you'll win, but because patterns in your results might reveal when underlying mathematics have changed. Second, seek out older properties. Tribal casinos, regional casino chains, and off-strip Las Vegas properties tend to have slower equipment update cycles than major strip resorts. Machines at these locations are more likely to retain original configurations longer, simply because floor renovation budgets are smaller and equipment replacement happens less frequently. Third, target low-traffic areas within casinos. Properties focus their optimization efforts on high visibility, high-traffic machines first because that's where the revenue impact is greatest. Machines tucked away in corners or secondary gaming areas often get updated last. Fourth, verify before you play. Check manufacturing dates when you can find them. Inspect pay tables carefully against documented versions shared in online player communities. And pay attention to how frequently features trigger compared to other players' documented experiences. Fifth, diversify your locations. Don't assume your favorite casino will maintain the machines you prefer. What exists today might be gone or fundamentally altered next month. If you find a machine with favorable characteristics, understand it's temporary and plan accordingly. The reality is that these player-favorable machines are becoming rarer every single month. If you locate an original Scarab or an original Lucky Larry's or any of the other machines we've discussed, there's a genuine time sensitivity involved. It might not be there on your next visit. Now, I need to emphasize something important. Even the most player-favorable machine we've discussed still favors the house mathematically over sufficient play. A 95% return to player means the house keeps 5% long-term. These machines offer better value, longer playing time, and more satisfying experiences, but they're not profit opportunities. The focus should be on entertainment value and understanding what you're actually getting for your gambling budget. If you enjoy playing slots, play slots, but play with complete awareness of how the system actually works and what advantages casinos hold. This video exists to reduce that information gap even slightly, to give you visibility into removal patterns and optimization strategies that casinos never advertise and would prefer you didn't understand. I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel because documenting these industry practices and sharing insider information is the only way players can make genuinely informed choices. In the comments, let me know. Have you played any of these 9 machines? Have you noticed your favorite machine playing differently over time? Which casino locations do you know that still have original versions? Your reports help create a crowdsourced database that helps other players find these increasingly rare games. In the next video, Tony, I'll reveal the 5 specific machines casinos are installing to replace these player-favorable ones. And what you'll learn about the psychological manipulation engineered into these new games will fundamentally change how you see modern slot design. One of these new machines has former casino employees so concerned about its addictive potential that several have spoken out publicly despite non-disclosure agreements. These machines are disappearing fast. If you want to find them, don't wait. Now you know what to look for and where to look. Share this information, help other players make informed choices. And remember, next time we're covering what's replacing these machines, and you absolutely need to know what's coming to casino floors.